Welcome to the Be the Sun, Not the Salt podcast. My name is Dr. Harry Cohen, and I'm joined with my co-host, Connie Fontaine, Chief Super Spreader. We're going to dive into the chapters of Be the Sun, Not the Salt, and hope you find this uplifting.
And this mini episode is Chapter 13. Chapter 13 is one of my favorites, Be Your Own Best Friend. I think this is one that is so important, not just now, like any day, So let's dig into being your own best friend.
The essence of being your own best friend is really making sure that we don't pour salt on our own roots with negative self-talk, unchallenged, unaware, negative inner dialogue. Now, there's other ways that you can be your own best friend and take care of yourself. But this point about being aware of our negative self-talk is the main point. There's other ways, which we'll talk about, but the main point is be gentle with yourself with your inner dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
For
there's,
me,
and it's,
go ahead, Con.
oh, go ahead. No. You've got an idea. Go ahead.
Well,
for me,
for me, it's when I hear myself out loud, you idiot, you frickin' idiot. Literally, I'll say that or worse. And when I hear it, like voiced,
Yeah. What was I
chuckle.
thinking?
What was I, dude, come on, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Come on, you got this. I have learned, and the best part about this is a shrink, everyone has known about negative and positive self-talk for 50 years. This is not new. What is new is that we can change it.
Mm-hmm.
That notion that you can both see your negative inner chatter and challenge it and stop it and knock it off. We're wired to be negative, but we can really dial it back. And that's what's most exciting for me.
Yeah, I'm almost one of those people sometimes, and I'm trying to teach myself. It's almost like I feel like I have to blame myself for a little while. And that negative self-talk, though, it just accumulates. It makes it harder and harder to get out of it.
Especially if you don't even see it. Especially,
that's true.
I can sometimes hear it in other people that they can't hear it. Did you hear what you just said about yourself? And I just told you I can hear it about myself. But to your point, it becomes, unfortunately, a negative rut that all of us can fall into. So let's just challenge it. Tiny. We were talking earlier this morning, Connie, about how we want to make this easy for people. If you want to go to therapy, that's great. But you don't have to go to therapy to examine your inner negative dialogue and knock it off.
Yeah, you can make it step one at least. I agree. So we're wired this way. I know we talk about this. It's just evolutionarily we are wired, if that's a word, evolutionarily.
And the reason we're evolutionarily wired to talk negatively about ourselves and to ourselves is that we have a tendency to want to be conscious of any dangers in the environment. So negative seems way more important to pay attention to than the positive. That keeps us alive. That's just how we're wired. No big deal. However, when that negative inner dialogue gets going in us, it's nothing but bad. I'm going to miss it. Oh, come on. I'm going to blow it again. People in sports psychology talk about this all the time. How do you help people avoid the inner negative dialogue? There's a lot of ways. Right. Positive rituals. You see tennis players engage in positive rituals. You see the Olympic athletes engage in deliberate positive self-talk right before they're going to do the event. That's practice. And I love that you can see these great people doing it. We can do it too. You can literally say to yourself, Harry, you got this.
Well, and I think that the one that I remember that you shared with me that you noticed about me is I would always say, oh, I'm just bad at names. And you're like, no, you're not bad at names. But once you decide you are, you have a tendency to not try and be good at something because you think, yeah, I'm just bad at that.
Did that help you when I pointed that out?
Oh, yeah. Because I try really hard not to say that anymore. And I also know I'm not bad at names. I can remember my best friend's phone number from first grade. I have no, it's not my brain. It's not that I just turned 60. This is that I just, the way I process when I'm usually, what I've found is I'm thinking about something else. I want to know how that person feels. I'm thinking about that person instead of ingesting name, stick it in your brain. So, yeah, just knowing that I'm not bad at anything really. Well,
So
maybe a couple of
I
things, but
love that I pointed out something that you were doing unconsciously, and you immediately said, "God, I could change that." That's all we're saying here. You
yeah.
don't have to do anything other than catch it when it happens. This is the best part about these mistakes, which are not mistakes. They're
Right.
the way we learn. When we engage in negative self-talk, we can immediately go, "I just did it. That guy and Connie were
Yep.
talking about that. I caught myself. Way to go. Small victory. Move on to the
Right.
next one. Don't
Yeah.
overthink this."
I think there's some examples for me. I think I learned when my daughter Jackie was diagnosed with diabetes, type 1 diabetes, very important distinction, when she was a little girl. And I think I learned quickly from a parent that never let your child say you're a diabetic. You are a something. You basically have labeled the person, whether it's an epileptic, a diabetic. It's you have it, but you have diabetes. And I think because there's this negative self-talk that happens with some of the children, especially, is like now they've become something they weren't before instead of just
Wow.
something else new to deal with. And I think that applies. That is an example I learned. And I hear it consciously when other people say it, not just about someone having diabetes, but other things too. It's like, no, you're not that. You're not. Your
Mhm.
baby isn't whatever, Down syndrome child. Your child had Down syndrome. And it's,
Mm.
there's a different, it comes out more beautifully to me anyway than labeling
This
somebody.
the distinction is important, and I love that it was helpful for you and your daughter, who is a
Hmm.
grown woman now and a
Hmm.
mother,
Hmm.
and she will help her daughter. I think
Her
it's her
boy, she's
son,
got a little
actually.
son. Yeah, little Thomas.
Her son with any kind of negative self
Hmm.
talk. So, what we didn't get into in this chapter around be your own best friend is all the self care stuff that is really important, which we didn't go into this chapter. But being your own best friend is not just refraining from negative self talk.
Hmm.
That's huge. It's also in engaging with the healthy behaviors that we already do to take care of ourselves. These are really basic: sleep, exercise,
Hmm.
nutrition,
Right.
good company, right?
Well, and the other one that you get into in the chapter, though, is also about not letting negative talk about other people continue. So and so did this. This person's in my head, and I just don't. I keep going back to it. And I think that's another version of you need to be able to be your best friend to be able to stop that chatter for sure.
I really appreciate you bringing that up because I had forgotten about this. I think my dog Yolo might bark at someone who's coming to the door, but we'll see if
We
she
love
does.
YOLO. She can
Th-
bark.
this having negative thoughts about other people rattling around inside your head can be destructive. Don't spend your precious time stewing about someone else. You
Hmm.
pay the price for the anger or jealousy, not the other guy. I love that, and thank you
Hmm.
for reminding that. Don't do the cultivation of, I can't believe she said that. I can't believe he did that. I can't believe. Let it go.
Yeah, I always like to think too. Is that person sitting worried about me? Nope, probably not. Time to move on. Do you struggle with this at all? And I feel like you've got when it comes to being your own best friend, you're pretty good at it.
I work at it.
Do you
I don't
still?
struggle with this. This isn't a struggle. This is a continual reminder of the both, which will, A, when I hear my own negativity about myself, I go, hey, dude, come on, Harry, you got this. You
Hmm.
know better.
Yep.
When I find myself rattling negativity around somebody else, I say the same damn thing. Well, Harry, come on, man. Let it go. Let it go.
Yep.
And about the self care, I'm really, really deliberate about self
Hmm.
care because I just know how important it is.
Well, and I think
It's
I just
not a
even did it
struggle.
using the word struggle. Struggle. Who struggle? Shouldn't struggle. Like just, I think what we say even in the chapter is let's practice this. And I think
Wait,
if every day you say I'm great, I feel good, I wake up and I'm gonna take good care of myself, and these are the kinds of behaviors and thoughts that I'm gonna let in my head, and these are the ones I'm gonna push back on. And I think that's part of is the practice and not allowing yourself to struggle. So I just caught myself on that one.
and even you
Hmm.
saying struggle is really important because it creates an image of
Right.
some difficulty. And
Yeah.
I don't want to be
And
struggling.
I'm watch people that struggle, and there's probably people listening that feel like it's a struggle. So I guess that I'm glad I said it because then we can talk about it. That don't struggle. Take some action. Take one piece of, one thought that came from today's discussion, hopefully, to not struggle.
And it's only when we see it by doing it, can you do something about it? Your
True.
point about struggle, it's okay. So big.
Yep.
deal. We notice that when we say struggle, we can say, "Whoa!" And by the way, the image of struggle is
Oh yeah, Russell.
tense.
Hmm.
And if
Hmm.
you relax,
Yep.
the knot can be untied
Hmm.
more easily. When you pull at a tangle, it tends to not get untangled.
That's right. I think everybody be your own best friend. Thank you for listening today. If you love this, if you have something that you think you can share with others, please share the podcast. Please follow us so that you're alerted when we drop a new episode. And thanks for joining on the Gentle Nudge. Thanks for listening.